Go easy to hardest.
Yeah, probably.
Get the people out of here.
Good. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. We could first like to point out the fire exits to my left here, and then the door through which we all came in. And if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we do roll call attendance, please?
Member Ertl? Here. Member Sprata?
Present.
Member Yarborough?
Present.
Member Menard?
Here.
And Acting Chairman Delaney.
Here. Legal notice for our first hearing, please.
Please take notice that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Depew will hold a public hearing on July 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application of Andrea Barcy on behalf of Our New Leaf Grab and Go Cafe for property located at 2304 George Rembrandt Boulevard of Chapter 260, Subset 260, 33M11. Restroom facilities must be provided to accommodate the additional exterior seats. The quantity of required plumbing fixtures will be based on both interior capacity and additional exterior seats. Seeking relief to not have restroom facilities for exterior dining. A pre-board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the OEM conference room of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, and any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Please step forward and tell us your name and tell us about what you'd like to do.
Hi, my name's Andrea Barcy. I own Our New Leaf Grab and Go Cafe and Bakery, and I'm basically wanting to put an outside seating area so that people have somewhere to sit during the summertime, so it'll be seasonal, but without the use of a facility for bathrooms. Our bathrooms right now are off of our kitchen, so we don't have indoor seating. I just want some place for people to sit outside.
Okay. Any board members with questions for the applicant?
What type of seating outside would you like to have?
We're thinking about like a patio where it will be like actual patio furniture, so it's comfortable to sit.
Okay.
Not picnic tables or
No.
anything like that.
Just chairs, no
And-
tables,
Yes, like little tables like you would have in your backyard.
but not picnic tables and extended seating and things like that where
Right,
overcrowding may occur,
right.
based on the location of the business and the corner property there of
Exactly.
overcrowding or anything like that.
Yep.
Okay?
And you also mentioned you had bathrooms, but you just have one bathroom.
I have
correct?
one that's off of our kitchen, just for
Yeah.
employees.
For employee bathroom.
Anything further, Member Sprott?
No, I think that's it.
Any other board members with questions at this time?
No.
No? Any questions, comments, concerns from code? Don, any questions, concerns?
No, just the stipulation that you'd have to have a sign out there saying no public restrooms will be available.
Absolutely, that's not a problem.
Any questions, comments, concerns from legal?
Nothing from me. I assume it's not possible for you to install a bathroom.
No. If you came, you'd see how small we are.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
There would be, obviously, we'd have to come to an agreement with bollards or something to protect the patio area from traffic pulling into the parking lot also.
The new owners, we've talked a bit, we haven't come up with exact plans, but they're planning on doing that so we don't get the cut-through traffic.
Okay.
So then I just suggest that if you do decide that you're going to allow this, that it would be predicated on the approval through the building department of the plan submitted.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to read the criteria for variance from New York State. Part of the packet you filled out, questions and your answers to them. All right, number 1 says, provide evidence to demonstrate that under the current applicable zoning regulations, the applicant cannot realize reasonable return from the property in question.
Cannot realize.
What does the burden of proof say?
Recording in progress.
Okay, and you answered no interior seating, so outdoor seating will improve my business. And I think it's important to note here that, it's impossible at the time for you to install a restroom for public use. Number 2, provide evidence to demonstrate that the alleged hardship relating to the property is not unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. You wrote, there is also outdoor seating at Frosty's and Burger King up the road. Also Wegmans, so we could look better to customers. For this criteria, what they're looking for you to demonstrate is that your problem is not unique. Yeah, so in Frosty's case, it would be the same exact situation because they too do not have restrooms. So just want to note that Burger King and Wegmans, so technically it's not the same. Number 3, provide evidence to demonstrate that the requested use variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the district or neighborhood. You wrote, there are also businesses within our neighborhood with outdoor seating, and some without restrooms. And lastly, provide evidence to demonstrate the alleged hardship has not been self-created. You wrote, previous owner was not a restaurant, so outdoor seating was not needed till now. What was the previous business?
It was Cortez.
Oh.
So that was their showroom downstairs, their offices were upstairs. So I'm in their showroom.
Just the showroom? Mm-hmm. Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Cool. All right, now, before we take a vote, I'd just like to state on the record that the applicant is a neighbor of mine. However, I do believe I can remain impartial and not let that affect my decision. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to either grant or deny the variance with the caveat that a sign go up on the door saying no public restrooms, and also that some sort of enclosure or protection be given to those using the outdoor seating from any parking lot traffic.
I'll make the motion to grant the variance with the stipulations that you just mentioned.
All right, Member Yarborough makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded from Member Sprata. Roll call vote, please.
Member Sprata.
Yes.
Member Ertl.
Yes.
Member Yarborough.
Yes.
Member Menard.
Yes.
And Chairman Delaney.
Yes.
5 yes, variance is granted.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was wondering if I could take a couple minutes to go get my blueprint.
You can. We're going to do the other application next. Go ahead.
All right. Next legal notice, please.
Please take notice that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Depew will hold a public hearing on July 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the Municipal Building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application of Richard Anna for property located at 47 Olmsted Avenue for 2 variances of Chapter 260, Subset 260, 14B4, B2, yards on a corner lot. The exterior side yard for residential corner lots shall be as follows: 18 feet minimum when the rear lot line abuts a side lot line of the neighboring lot, and of Chapter 260, Subset 260, 23A2, R1 Principal Use Dimension Standard, maximum building coverage, 30%. A pre-board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the OEM conference room of the Municipal Building, 85 Manitou Street, Depew, New York, and any and all persons interested in such application shall be heard at this time.
Okay, please step forward. Introduce yourselves, tell us what you'd like.
Hello, I'm Richard Anna, and we're trying to put a 10 by 10 deck addition to the decks that I already have existing. This is my son-in-law, Jabari Hassan. I'm sorry.
Can you spell your name for me?
Yes, first name Hassan, Hassan. Last name Ahmedin, Ahmedin.
Jabari.
Okay. And tell us what you'd like to, anything else you'd like to add about your project?
It's just a small addition to the deck that we already have. My wife has, we've had a bunch of children. Now we have grandchildren. Our family has tripled, literally. We had 5 kids. Now I have 5 spouses. We have a bunch of grandchildren. When we all come over, our 10 by 10 existing deck is just too small. So we're just trying to add on a little bit of space. And when we put our front addition on and our back addition on, when she kept having children, we just got too big for where we are. But my wife loves the neighborhood. She doesn't want to leave there. So we've been there for, I think, moved in November of 1985. And we took a little cape and made it into this huge, very big house. So we're just, we just ran out of room, basically.
Do that. Excellent. Any questions, comments from board members?
I've got a couple.
Members brought up.
On your existing deck, out the back, you've got a canopy over it. I think it's a canvas canopy.
Yes, sir.
If you put a addition onto it, what, will you have any covering?
No, she's going to just use a regular picnic table tent or a canopy
Umbrella?
for that. Yeah, we're not going to put any more, no more of, what is that called?
Awning.
No more awning, yes.
Yeah. So what's there?
Right.
Awning up above is going to stay
Correct.
as it is?
Yes.
Okay. And how about access to the pool? You've got it fenced off, and what's the
I do.
height?
We have a gate to the pool.
What's the height of that from the bottom of the pool to the top of the fence? Do you know what that height is?
I think it's about a little bit over 3 feet.
From the ground?
Oh, from the ground up, no.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer than that. We don't have the exact measurements, but we can get that for the board. We just don't have the exact measurements.
I don't understand the question. So our deck is a lower deck.
Yeah.
The first deck, the 10 by 10 deck, is a lower deck. Then we have an upper deck that goes to the pool. On that upper deck, I have a fence so
Yeah,
that
I
no
saw
one can
that.
get into that.
I saw that, but
And that is approximately 36 inches across and probably,
It's your average railing for
Right,
what,
it's
what your normal
probably-
railings would be on a deck.
Okay.
But not from the ground.
Maybe-
From the ground up, we don't have the exact measurements.
I
for
don't
up
have the
until
exact
top.
measurement.
But it's 3
A
feet
child
above
couldn't get into it,
that
and it
deck.
is locked gate.
Yeah,
Above the gate, yes, it is a little bit over 3
Right.
feet.
okay.
Yeah.
Anything further, Paul?
No, I don't.
Any other?
I just have a quick question. Speaking of the fence, there's nothing between the garage, there's no fence between the garage and the current requested 10 by 10 deck of a fence, or is that open, or is that
From the,
closed by a fence?
So
Is there So people can't just walk in between your garage and your deck and get in your pool?
No.
Yeah, so that's actually something we also address. So we're actually putting, which is going to be on top of the above ground pool. There's going to be a railing that goes all the way across.
That attaches to the pool?
That attaches to the pool.
To the deck.
No, to the deck. To the deck, but then also.
But the deck is against the pool, so
So there's no way for the public
Correct.
to get into or have access to, kids running through the neighborhood can't pool hop, so to speak?
It's actually way too high. The pool itself, the above ground pool, is actually.
Well, I have an above ground pool as well, but I have a 5.5-foot fence
Right.
all the way, or 6-foot fence all the way around my property. So nobody can get in.
Right.
And I have a 4.5-foot gate
Right.
that opens so from my driveway.
Right.
So what I'm asking is, there's no fence or enclosure that encloses the space between
When you
your
wa-
deck and your garage.
Right.
So you can technically walk in right now and get in the pool.
Technically, yeah, but it'd be very difficult. It'd be a huge jump.
It's a yes.
Okay, but there is protection going to be in place.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I'm
Yes.
getting at. There will be protection in place.
Yes.
Once this deck, if this deck space is approved.
Yes,
Of
sir.
course, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
So where the deck is, yes, we are actually going to be putting even an additional right on top,
Fencing.
right, fencing on top of the pool
Yes.
that surrounds it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was making sure that that's, yes.
Okay, any other questions?
So I think I'm kind of like have the same question. The deck right now, the addition deck is going to be right in line with the deck that's there now, correct?
Correct.
It's almost like you're just going to extend it, same height, everything.
Exactly.
The deck you have
Well-
now does have a, oh,
There's two different levels of the deck. So
Okay.
when you come out of the house, there's, you come out of the house, it's just flat, you go.
Okay, yeah.
If you want to go to the pool, you're going to open a gate. And
Yes,
go
I saw
step
the
up a
gate, yes.
And
Okay.
step up a step, I should
yeah.
say.
So, but talking what comes off your, because that's where I
But the
was
new
looking at
deck
it.
would be the flat deck like the.
That goes into your house?
Correct.
That's, okay, so that's going to be level as if on.
Correct.
Now, the new deck will have a railing.
Yes.
Similar to the railing you have, and is it going to be about the same height as the
Yes.
railing you have on the current deck? Okay. Okay, so I think that's kind of, I think I was piggybacking on that. I think that was kind of the same thing. Okay.
No sleeping.
Okay,
I've got 4 kids at home, so.
Well, we
I
appreciate
understand.
putting us before the other
Yeah.
properties, so that,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Yes.
all right, I think we momentarily lost Don.
We did momentarily lose Don.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns from legal?
Well, I mean, he told me I was falling asleep, so I think.
I didn't say
That
falling,
was
I
his
said don't fall
comment to
asleep.
you. So,
I
that's on the
don't
record.
know how we approve this. I have no comments, especially if they're able to get insurance for their property, because I know I have a pool, and when I bought my house, I accidentally said there's no fence around the pool, because I didn't have like a safety fence, and they said, you're uninsurable. So I was like, no, there's a fence, just not a safety fence, and then I was insurable. So I think that scrutiny has been addressed elsewhere, and they've likely met it.
Excellent. All right, so with that, I will read the criteria for an area variance in the packet that you filled out, questions and your answers to them. Number 1, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties be created by granting of the area variance? You wrote no, and I agree. Number 2, can the benefit sought by you, the applicant, be achieved by some other method other than an area variance? You wrote no, and that's true. 3, is the requested area variance substantial? You wrote no, I'm seeking a 10-foot deck addition. When you say 10-foot, you mean lengthwise?
It's 10 by 10.
Oh, so it's, okay.
Yeah.
It's exactly, well, it's technically not going to be 10 by 10 because it's going to go
Around the pool.
curvature of the pool.
And it's already 10 by 10.
Correct. What's there now?
So
is
it's
10.
kind of an 100% increase.
Yes.
So that would be substantial.
Besides the, yes.
All right, just so we're clear. All right, number 4, will the proposed area variance have an adverse effect or impact the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? You wrote no, and I would agree. Number 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the zoning board of appeals, but not necessarily preclude the granting of the requested area variance? You wrote no, I'm going to say it's yes. And last but not least, what is the minimum area variance deemed necessary and adequate? You wrote 50 square feet. So it's 10 feet.
Yeah, it's 100 square feet.
It's 100.
I was wrong.
Maybe you were sleeping.
I was bad. Yeah, I was.
You're probably tired.
Right.
All right.
Say 50.
With that, would a fellow board member like to put forth a motion to grant or deny this variance as presented?
I make a motion to grant the variance for the motion at hand.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I don't know who's first or Paul.
Doesn't matter.
All right, we'll give it to Paul. So Member Menard with the motion, Member Sprata with the second. And roll call vote, please.
Member Sprata?
Yes.
Member Erdl?
Yes.
Member Yarborough?
Yes.
Member Menard?
Yes.
And Chairman Delaney.
Yes.
5 yes, first variance approved.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your deck and all your grandchildren.
Thank you.
Great day.
Don't have more grand-
Oh,
You have to do both.
you still.
Oh, wait, there's two.
Yeah.
There's two, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, there's another.
Hang on.
There's more.
The building coverage.
We have another grandchild coming too.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
We didn't do this legal notice yet either, right?
It was in the first, it was all in the one
Oh,
legal.
okay,
Yep.
cool. Okay,
Is this a 30% one?
Yeah.
yes. Okay, now, I think we'll go through the same process for this one. Do we have any questions on the building, maximum building coverage variance? So get this in. What? Well, that's the same.
Yeah, it's
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same, yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a different one. All right.
The reason I asked the questions about the height from the ground up to the top of the fence is for insurance purposes and safety purposes.
Okay.
That's what I was
Right.
leading to.
Okay, so, Sam, do you have any comments on the
I
building
don't.
coverage?
I do not.
Is that unusual to go over 30%?
What do you mean?
For what this variance is, it's going over 30% of the property.
It's just beyond the code. We have eclectic lots in the village of Depew. So they're smaller and we commonly see applications like this, so.
Okay, so do we want to, we have a board member willing to put forth a motion on this variance?
Isn't there a separate criteria sheet?
No, I don't have one. I don't.
There is a separate one, but it's the same answers.
It is the
Yes.
same,
That
yeah.
is the correct answer, yeah.
Right.
It's the same one.
So it's, I have two, but it's a
I
copy.
thought I saw a different one earlier, but I don't know what else.
You're looking for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the variance application as stated.
I'll
make a
second.
Second part.
I think we remember Erdl that time on the second, or was Member Yarborough? Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
Whichever.
I'll second.
all right.
Whatever.
So motion from Member Sprata, second by Member Yarborough. And whenever you're ready, second roll call vote, please.
It was Sprata and who?
Member Yarborough.
Member Sprata.
Yes.
Member Erdl?
Yes.
Member Yarborough?
Yes.
Member Menard?
Yes.
And Chairman Delaney.
Yes.
5 yes, second motion approved.
All right. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Enjoy those grandchildren.
I will.
For real
Yeah.
this time.
Good night.
So on this last one, I'm just gonna call Don's cell and put it near my microphone, okay?
I just sent him a new code.
Wait, now you have a new code. Yeah, that's the goal, isn't it? That's why I have so many kids, so I can have a bunch of grandkids and give them back to people one day. I need a double-decker bus. Okay, it's not working, Regina. I'm just gonna call him so we can move this along. He said the code isn't working.
Hey, Sam.
Hi, Don. You're on speakerphone. Everyone can hear you. I'm gonna put my phone near the microphone, so no potty language, okay?
No problem, buddy.
Say something.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
That's actually surprisingly good.
Good. I can hear you much better also, so this probably will work out better.
Okay, great.
Okay, can we please take this legal notice for Mr. O'Brien?
Please take notice that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Depew will hold a public hearing on July 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the Municipal Building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application of Joseph O'Brien for the property located at 5473 Transit Road of Chapter 260, subset 260-20. In order to regulate growth and development in the Village of Depew, no land shall be used or no land use or accessory use shall be established on any lot except in accordance with the list of permitted uses, the district regulations for such uses, and supplemental regulations established in other sections of this chapter. For each zoning district enumerated in subset 260-17, the following regulations are established to list permitted uses for each district, permitted accessory uses, the minimum land area required, the location of the buildings and structures, the maximum allowable heights of structures, and the maximum permitted densities. A pre-board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the OEM conference room of the Municipal Building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York. Any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Okay, please step forward, tell us your name, and tell us what you'd like to do.
My name's Joseph O'Brien. I live at 5473 Transit Road, where I've had a business in my downstairs since 1984 until now. It's been my plan all these years to eventually transfer my downstairs into an apartment so I can move down and rent out the upstairs and live off supplement income from that with my Social Security. So I'm at that point, and I wanted to do everything on the up and up, do it right, so I went down to the town clerk's office, and I spoke with Don, the inspector, told him what I wanted to do, and I says I want to make sure I get all the proper permits and everything. Told him what I wanted to do, and he said that I actually don't need any permits, that the people I hire to do the project will need to get their permits. I says, fine. So I says, would you like to see my blueprint or come down and check out what I'm gonna do? He said, no. Are you gonna move any walls? I says, a couple walls. He says, well, just make me a sketch of where the walls are gonna be, where the walls are and where they're gonna be. I says, fine, I can do that. I went home and I did that. I think I gave it to him the same day or the next day, but he says, okay, call me when you're done with the demolition. I says, okay, great. So I went home, I did all the demolition. Took me a little over a month, I think. I did it all by myself. And I called Don, I called my plumber. My plumber came down, dropped two guys off, and they started digging for the drains for the tub and the sinks. And then the owner of the business went down to get his permit. He came back a little while later and said that he can't get a permit until I get a permit. So I says, well, I don't understand that, but I'll go down and see if I can straighten it out. So I went down and talked to Don, and Don says, yeah, you need a builder's permit. I said, okay, you know. So I paid $550 for the permit, and they gave me the permit. I went and hung it up in my window in front, and then Don came down and said, you can't do this. You said you misled me. I said, I don't know what you mean, but he just started telling me how you can't do this, you can't do that, and I was pretty frustrated. But
Let me ask you this: what did Don say that you did that you didn't tell him, or?
I don't know. He just said that I misled him.
Let's make sure everyone keeps their voices up so Don can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could barely hear you.
I guess what I'm trying to do, Don, is get to the bottom of the discrepancy where,
There was never an appointment for him to meet in a couple days. There was never an appointment. He told me to call him when I got the demolition done. There was no mention of an appointment. It's not the way it went. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. I'm just saying maybe he doesn't recollect because it's been a while and he does a lot of jobs. Maybe he's got it mixed up, you know. I mean, that could happen. I understand that.
I can't hear him. I'm sorry.
So basically, Don and Mr. O'Brien, I'm going to do my best to paraphrase. Mr. O'Brien's relayed that he went in, he spoke to you because he wanted to do everything right. He told you he wanted to do some demolition in the downstairs, and you had indicated he did not need a permit for that, as long as he wasn't removing any load-bearing walls or something like that.
Correct.
And then once the demo was done, which he did himself, he called you, his plumber came, the plumber went to pull the permit, and the other guys, I guess, started digging drains while they were pulling the permit, and the plumber came back and said, you've got to pull your permit, Mr. O'Brien, and Mr. O'Brien went to pull his permit, and that is how we've arrived here. Did I surmise that correctly? Okay, so Don, that's what Mr. O'Brien said, and now Pat's asking him some questions.
I guess,
Okay.
Don, I'm just looking for the crux of the discrepancy where, you know, where we went wrong here.
Okay, so he did come in several times, and what he was explained to me was he was moving a couple of walls to make the kitchen and bathroom larger. I asked him, is this a commercial or residential? He said, residential. I said, okay, I don't really have a problem with it. I said, but I need to stop down after you remove the finishes on these two walls so that I could see make sure they're not, you know, load bearing. And that's kind of where we left off. Now, as far as I knew, he was moving a couple walls, you know, taking finishes and stuff off like kitchen floors and counters and stuff, not a big deal, but he gutted the entire business. It was a business. It's not his residence. It was a business, his pinstriping business. He gutted it to the bare walls. And when I talked to him and I got there, he said, I'm turning this into an apartment. That's what I said, that's not what you led me to believe. What you led me to believe was you were moving a couple walls to make an area larger, not turning this thing into something, you know, a completely different use.
But
that's where the discrepancy came in.
Don, did he say it was a residential when he came in and talked to you?
Yes.
No.
That's because I told him, I said, this is a C2.
Well, no, I think
He knows-
I'm not trying to pit you guys against each other. I think that might be where the controversy and confusion lies, because you were converting it to a residential. So when the building inspector says this is residential, you're not a builder. Yeah, it's a residential.
No, I never said.
Or you might have
I
thought
never
you
said that it
what
was.
you want it to
It is
be,
now.
or what you want to turn it into, and you said residential. And
No, I didn't say that either.
Okay.
I never used the word residential.
I'm trying
When
to
when I was
bridge
told
the
that I
gap
had to get a
and find
permit,
this.
I went down to get the permit. And it says commercial right on the computer when you're
Right.
making it up.
I'm talking about before you went to get the permit, when you did the demo.
Yeah, I never
First
mentioned
time you went
commercial.
down there,
I
that
never mentioned, I
conversation.
just told him that I wanted to rent out the upstairs and move downstairs.
Okay, so maybe there was an implication it was residential, that he,
That's possible, he might have understood it that way.
but I guess what I'm getting at is, I don't think anyone thinks you did anything malicious or intentionally misled him. I think there was a misunderstanding.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I don't think, in the same way, I don't think he did either, you know, but now I'm in this position.
It's really, at this point, it's a moot point, because where we stand, and you can continue where you left off, but, you know, it's, we're talking about a commercially zoned property, and you want to turn that into a residence, which is not something that's...
Well, how, you know, it would cost me over $30,000 to put it back the way it was. I had the furnace, air conditioner removed because I had to make room for the bathroom. If he would have done just what I asked, to look at the blueprint or come down and check it out first before I did any demolition, I wouldn't be in this position. I wouldn't ever have started. That's what I'm saying. This is really...
Now, there was mention made, Don, earlier in the pre-board of a potential remedy to this set of circumstances. Did you want to run that down for Mr. O'Brien?
The only way I can see this thing working out, if you don't approve his request to turn this into a two-family residence, he would have the option of doing what's called a build-out, putting the walls back up, insulating it, putting the fire separations in, putting a bathroom, things like that in, and then renting it back out as a business the way it's supposed to be. All right. I don't see, without him getting a design professional involved and having this building substantially renovated to turn it into a residential.
That's the one I was referring to.
There's no parking for commercial use either. I have a 3-car garage. The 2 cars are not squeezed in. There's plenty of room around. I can open both doors on both cars without touching the other. And there's space behind my building where I can pave for another spot. As far as the egress window, I don't never mention anything about putting a window on the south wall, the north wall. But if I needed to put an egress window in the bedroom, I could put it on the back, the east wall.
I think the start to any sort of project like that would be to get a design professional involved.
I have a blueprint that I have, and it's not just, I mean, you said hand done. I took mechanical drawing in high school. I mean, the 1 inch equals a foot. That's one way to shut the off.
Why don't you lay it on this table and we can all come down and take a look? And Don, I'm going to text you a picture of this, okay?
Okay.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Did Don come down to look at your property in person at any point?
After I called him when the demolition was done.
After you were kind of told to stop? Or before you were told to stop?
That's when he told me to stop.
When he came and looked at it then?
That's when he told me.
So the permit was issued beforehand?
The
Permit to add the bathroom?
Permit was issued before he came down.
Because you did get a permit,
Yes,
an alteration.
I got the permit.
And this one does say to add a kitchen and bathroom.
It does.
And that was issued before he ever came to look at it?
Yes,
And you had told him that your plans were to live down there?
yes.
Okay.
Why would I put a kitchen and a bathroom down there?
So here it is commercial and nothing was
Yes.
brought up, because it does say commercial here, but nothing was brought up at that point that you would, he didn't advise you that you really couldn't live down there at this point?
At what point?
When he issued this permit
Don, you're back on
add the kitchen and
speakerphone.
bathroom?
No, he didn't say
It
that.
does say commercial here, but you had told him you were going to live there, and
Yeah.
nothing was mentioned to you that you wouldn't be able to do that?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
No.
I know, I looked at this a little bit the other night, but...
Front door is here.
This door is gonna be, this is, there's 42-inch door there now. I'm gonna turn it down to 36.
You're gonna put it to,
A regular residential.
regular residential door?
Yes.
But you have no other egress out of this first floor other than your front door, correct?
Back door.
And a back door.
And there's a bathroom window. Oh, it's not there, but it's right there.
There's gonna be a bathroom window here.
There is a window there, I'm sorry.
Okay, there's a window right here.
And there's no
That's what I said,
other
what were the
windows.
plans?
There are windows here, block windows. Oh, they're not on here, but there's 5 of them altogether. 2 here.
Okay.
Can we
one,
say for
two,
the record
three
that
here.
there is a side conversation going on? Or
Just
as,
based on what Jamie put on the record.
because we can't,
We should hear everything, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So we need to kind of discuss it back
Okay, sure enough.
as a group, guys.
So I have a question. The permit references, and Don, this is for you, it references an alteration of space per submitted plans. Is that the plans that I just sent you a picture of if you got it? Are those the
I
same?
didn't receive the picture yet.
he never looked at them. He never looked at the blueprint.
Hang on, let me finish,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, but Don, your permit references per submitted plans.
Yes, to move those couple of walls that he had.
So were there written plans to move those walls? Because this.
Yeah, he's got a sketch showing the 2 walls,
Okay.
you know.
Is that
and
what we're
when I
looking
asked
at?
him
No,
to draw the
No.
layout of it,
That's what he asked
Okay.
for. I asked him if he wanted to see the blueprint.
But this says adding a kitchen and bathroom. So it says per submitted plans, adding a kitchen and bathroom. So that's kind of what I'm stuck on, is were there submitted plans adding a kitchen and bathroom that he got the permit?
enlarging an existing kitchen and bathroom is the way he explained it to me.
No, there was never a kitchen.
That does say
There was a
adding.
small bathroom.
It says adding.
It's just a toilet and
That's
a
why I'm
sink.
confused.
There was never a kitchen down there. If there was a kitchen and a bathroom down there, I'd be living down there now.
So we can keep going back and forth, but I do think this was a misunderstanding, and I think the problem with an approval tonight, if you were to get that, is that you're opening up a can of worms on the variances you needed going forward. The board's gonna need to see something from a design professional. I don't know if that's adequate. I'm not an architect or an engineer. So, you have all the discretion and all the power in what you want us to do tonight. So you could have the board vote tonight on whether or not to approve this particular variance. And that might be a good idea before you spend money having a design professional put something together and come back and ask for probably 2 or 3 additional variances so you could do this. Or you could do it all at once and ask the board to table this and come back with an architect probably in a month or so, and maybe a little longer with our notice requirement. So, I just wanted to put that out there for you. I don't know what the board's going to do. I think there was a misunderstanding. I think if it was clear, you would have been told you can't do this right away.
Exactly.
And, you wouldn't have spent money gutting the place and getting the plumber in there.
I already spent $13,000 on the heating and cooling. Plumbing's gonna be $9,000 and the electric's gonna be $6,000. Framing and drywall's gonna be like $25,000.
I'm not a board member. I don't offer any opinion on the merits other than to say, this is what I think happened with procedure and what you can do. So it's up to you if you want the board to vote tonight on this application and then come back for the additional variances, or they could say no and it's Plan B, whatever that might be. Or you can ask the board to table this, which I'm sure they'll approve, and you can come back perhaps with a design professional at another meeting, and then have all your ducks in a row for all the variances you need.
What all variances would they be?
So I think there's a variance on the lot line for having a residential structure this way. I think there's
I can't change my lot line.
but it's non-compliant. it might be compliant with the code for a commercial property, it wouldn't be for a residential. So if you're making this a residential, you also need a variance for that. Does that make sense?
I don't know what to do right now.
If you were to look on, like E-code 360 and look at the code for an R2 zone and a C2 zone, you'd see all the differences. And
I understand
Yeah.
that I didn't know anything about zonings before, but thing is, I wouldn't be in this position if I wasn't told to go ahead. And I did receive a permit. That's where I am.
Sure. I completely understand.
I mean, I didn't want to get lawyers involved in this.
Unfortunately, I'm always involved.
I mean, well, I understand that, but I mean, lawyers plural. I mean,
it's up to you if you want to change your application tonight so that you come back again without whatever else you want to present. You can talk to Don about what variances you need to make this residential and have additional applications.
I'd rather not talk to Don.
Well, you've got to talk to Don. You've got to talk to building. And you know, at least in my experience, I know you've had a bad experience, but Don is very professional, does things by the book. He's very busy, but
He seemed very busy. He didn't seem to have time for me the first day I was in there. I asked him about permits. Seemed like he was in a hurry, and he was very short with me, told me to go ahead and all that, and then, no.
He didn't have any plans with him or anything the first time he showed up.
So where I was going with this was just, I was going to say, Don, in my experience, is very professional.
I understand.
I think what you're describing is an exception to what I commonly hear. So, you know, that's all I was going to say. So it's entirely up to you if you want the board to vote on what you put before them tonight. There will be additional variances required under our code to make this a compliant residential property.
What is this all going to cost? Do you have any idea if I go
that's why
forward?
it might be, and we can't, once again, we can't suggest anything to you, but
Right.
one of your options would be to, suggest that we table this, and then you would consult a design professional in the meantime. That is one of your options. As opposed to, once again, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but that is one of your options.
Right, that's all I wanted to convey to you, is you can ask us to reconsider this when you come back with more evidence, when you know what the other variances are.
And you probably know the cost a little bit more too.
And know the cost a little bit more. Because if they vote no tonight, that's,
Oh, you mean like her architect, you mean?
right, you'd hire
That's going to cost at least $2,000.
That's going to be necessary for this to get through if you prevail tonight.
And if I do that and I don't get the variance,
Well, there's a benefit of you having a vote tonight, because if you don't get it, then you don't spend that money. on
That
the architect.
consultation may or may not provide you with the insight needed to know if you should proceed.
Right. It's up to you. We can't tell you what to do, but we thought it important to let you know that it's an option to delay this, gather some more evidence, look into this a little more, and come back. It's entirely up to you.
well, right now, that sounds like the way to go. So,
So formally, and we're not forcing you to do that. You can ask us to vote on the application
Absolutely.
as before us tonight. They may say yes, they may say no. I don't vote. I just talk too much. Or
okay,
you-
well, can we vote on it then?
They can vote on it, or you can ask them to table it to another meeting, in which case we'll adjourn it to, would it be next meeting or the following? Probably in August?
It would be
So Sam,
when he would be ready
Okay.
with his additional information.
Okay, so you'd resubmit just like you did with this one. So those are your two options.
Two options are.
And then, I'm sorry, Don, what were you saying?
so either way, even if you agree to this today and say, yeah, we're going to let you go ahead and go forward, he still has to provide me with a set of plans showing this from a design professional. It's
Right.
one thing moving a couple non-load bearing walls, it's completely another when you're dealing with fire separations and egress windows and parking and everything else. So either way, I'm going to require those plans in order to go forward.
I think the short version is,
I've already gone forward, is what I'm getting at. I mean, I'm at a point now where I've got a lot invested already.
okay. So it's entirely up to you if you want the board to delay so you can do everything all at once, or if you want, you're gonna have to come back either way. But, you know,
Well, I wouldn't even be here now if I was told in the beginning that I couldn't do what I wanted to do.
I understand that.
Then I wouldn't be here at all. I would be considering other options.
I understand that. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you are on the spot. You've got to let us,
I am.
the board
and
know.
That's no fault of my own.
Well, I'm just talking about if you want the board to vote on the application before it, or if you want the board to adjourn it. And that's the last I'll say on it. It's up to you.
I would appreciate if the board could vote on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. Let me go ahead then and read the criteria for the use variance in New York State and your answer. John, did you have something?
No, if you decide whichever way you're going to go, like I said, I still need the required proper plan submitted for what he's trying to do. So either way, I'll help him no matter which way he wants to go with it. Personally, I would suggest going the route that you had suggested to get a design professional to look at it, show him what he needs to do to bring it into compliance, and then go from there. But again, it's up to him. You know, whatever happens, happens.
Okay, with that, there are 4 criteria for use variance in New York State. Number 1, provide evidence to demonstrate that under the current applicable zoning regulations, the applicant cannot realize a reasonable return from the property in question. You wrote no parking for commercial use. First floor was a hand-painted sign shop. Signs are all done with computers now. Outdated, I'm a dinosaur. However, reasonable return, I mean, you could ostensibly either rent out or the building as a commercial space for another business or sell it for that purpose. So that is technically a way to realize a reasonable return from the property. Just want to note that. Number 2, provide evidence to demonstrate that the alleged hardship related to the property is not unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. You wrote, the property in question is
Quite small.
quite small, and no one will ever notice changes. Okay, that may be true, but
They're all interior.
yeah.
I have 2 letters from my neighbors.
Okay, we'll definitely take a look at those.
Okay.
I think read them in the record.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's from my neighbor to the south. This is from my neighbor to the north, which pretty much just says what a nice guy I am. It's just like, she didn't really understand what I was asking. So, I don't know if that's even.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will read these in once I've finished with the criteria here. Number 3, provide evidence to demonstrate that the requested use variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the district or neighborhood. You wrote, I don't believe anyone will even notice the change. There are all residences behind me to the north, 2 residence apartment buildings to the south. That may or may not be true, but the point is that the property where your business is located is zoned commercially and as a C2, not an R2. Just is what it is. Number 4, provide evidence to demonstrate that the alleged hardship has not been self-created. You wrote, I've been here since 1984. My business is outdated. If I was to rent to a business, I would still have to bring it up to code. I would not be in this position if an inspector inspected property before telling me to demo. I would just like to resolve this issue without getting lawyers involved. Let me read these letters into the record. First, we have a record from Mr. Matthew Barber at 5455 Transit Road, 5455 Transit Road, Apartment 2S in Depew. To whom it may concern, my name is Matthew Barber. I rented an apartment in the building at 5455 Transit Road the past 20 years, and I watch over the property for the owner, Bob Emmerich, who lives in Florida. Over that time, it has been my pleasure to get to know Joe O'Brien. Joe is a kind, considerate, and friendly neighbor who is always willing to help when asked. He has also become a good friend, and I trust him implicitly. A while ago, Joe told me that he was planning to retire and convert his first-floor shop into an apartment that he would move into. Then he would rent out the second-floor apartment to supplement his income. I cannot think of any way in which this would negatively affect the area or Joe's neighbors. Honestly, I cannot imagine how this would change things at all. I know that Joe is someone who does take great pride in his work and is meticulous about any project he takes on. He has, in fact, done a number of repairs in our building. So if he is allowed to convert the first floor of his building, it will be done right and with the minimum amount of disruption. If Joe is unable to go ahead with this plan, he told me that he may have to consider selling his building on Transit Road and look for another property to purchase. If Joe did move, that would certainly have a negative effect on the area, as good neighbors are not easy to come by, especially one as good as Joe. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Matthew Barber. And the second letter is from, what's the first name?
Carolyn and Bob.
Carolyn, okay. And the last name? Akis?
Lycus, I think.
Ikes. So this is from Carolyn and Bob Ikes. Says, to whom it concerns, we have been neighbors with Joe O'Brien for 15 years. Never once did we have any issues or concerns with him. He is outstanding and always goes beyond to help us out whenever we need help with anything. He is awesome and caring. Sincerely, Carolyn and Bob Ikes. And they're at 5475 Transit Road. Okay. Now, with all that, I'd like to just ask you once more, if you'd like this board to vote on this evening.
Yes, please.
The second floor apartment, did you buy it with that?
Yes.
That it was always there?
The apartment, upstairs apartment was there, yeah.
That's a topic I think we meant to discuss, is where did this residential apartment come from in a C2?
That apartment was there originally?
When I bought the building, it was there, yes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to. According to our code, and Don, please correct me if I'm wrong, a commercial building is allowed to have a residential in the upper, but the lower is not. And that is why
Exactly.
he has
That's right.
Okay. The lawyer should have known that.
That he has the ability to have the apartment up top and not on the bottom.
Fair enough.
One other thing I want to touch on real quick, just so you're all aware, it's the staging of snow in the wintertime, with it being a single driveway all the way to the back, where they're going to stage all the snow when you have multiple residents with multiple cars.
I've been dealing with the snows the whole time. My next door neighbor to the south allows me to pile it on top of his.
So that is something to consider. All right. If we have a board member who would like to put forth a motion to either grant or deny this use variance, and if the motion would be to grant, it is with the proviso that there are likely several other variances at the least that would also need to be taken into consideration and approved in order for a full transition from commercial to residential property. So just having stated that, is there such a motion that a board member would like to present?
I make a motion to grant, as
Motion-
you stated, with the,
Motion to grant with the stated provisos from Member Erdl. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Member Yarborough. Roll call vote, please.
Member Sprata,
With the revisals that would have to be added, I would say yes.
Member Erdl,
yes.
Member Yarborough,
Yes.
Member Menard,
Granted only with those provisos, and they were in place with the design professional and every variance met and approved going forward. Yes.
Well, hang on, because that changes the motion a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With
I'm
the-
sorry.
With everything but the design professional.
No, with the design professional, yes, and the variance is required.
Ken, that changes the motion on the.
Fair
floor
enough,
you're
then
voting for,
how
so-
it was
So with
presented,
provisos-
yes. I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
I misworded.
No problem.
Forgive me.
That's why I'm here.
Yep, forgive me. Forgive me, yes.
and Chairman Delaney.
Yes, with the aforementioned provisos of the variances that are going to be required in the future, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
5 yes, variance granted with provisions.
So
All right.
you're going to need to consult with
Architect?
with that and with Don to find out, with Don as far as what variances will be needed going forward. And with the architect to, like I said, to gain insight into this whole project. It's going to be a project. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
All right.
So with that, thank you.
So, thank you. So I just,
You're done.
You're all set.
Good luck.
Have a good night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
All right.
All right, Dot, I'm gonna hang up, okay?
All right, sounds good. I'll see you guys next week sometime.
I hope you feel better. Bye-bye.
I appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
Take care.
Meeting?
I would, yeah.
Well, you got it.
Oh,
A motion.
motion to close the meeting.
We
I
make a
motion to
motion,
close.
we close the meeting.
I second.
Seconded by Member Erdl.
Jamie.
Motion from Member Strada. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is closed.
I just want to give you some straight answers. I need to go to an architect and then,
So hang on. So, let's hang on. She's still recording. It's still live. Let's get it off and then we'll talk, okay? Okay.
Good idea.
Oh, I was having a very bad day today, to be honest with you. I woke up very